Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. We did it, day 60 in a row. With me today is your buddy Steve Simonson, Norm with the biggest beard in the game, Tim Jordan, please stand up, I'm sure you've got no trousers on, and Liran Hirschkorn, who never tends to sleep.
The baldest guy in the game.
You had a trim. Liran, you had a trim on top.
I need a new trim.
You need a new trim.
That's why I got the hat, because today I look like the old man bald guy, not the cool guy with the
okay, yeah. I didn't know if you were growing that back as part of the new look.
Absolutely not.
All right, cool. Welcome back, guys. Lots of amazing comments. Thank you for those this morning. Let's quickly go around the room. I'm going to share out to the groups. Starting with you, Steve. Mini intro. A lot of people know you are. I want to also thank all of you guys, plus every guest in the last 60 days, for keep coming back and helping me do this on a daily basis. This can't be done without people being on the show, interacting with me. I can't stand in front of the camera and stand there for an hour and just talk every day. It requires interaction with others. So you guys, although it's on my platform and I turn it on at 4 p.m. every day, it's down to guys like you. All of you guys make it all the difference. So I want to say a massive thank you there. So sorry, Steve, go on.
No problem. And thank you. Let me be the first to wish Danny a happy 60th birthday, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
And can I just say that you don't look a day over 55 to me, honestly.
Mate, I tell you what, when I wake up in the morning, I'm celebrating today. I got the Jack Daniels here. So I thought we'd do a bit of a mixture of drink tramps. I know you don't really drink, Steve, but yeah.
I got alcohol. I got alcohol too.
You got
there
alcohol.
You go. Yeah, that's excellent. The wrong idea. So while Danny's getting set up there, I just want to say again that I'm pleased to be here. Glad to be part of your 60th. We'll call it birthday, and that everything that you're doing, we all appreciate it. I know that so many entrepreneurs out there appreciate it. I'm an old e-commerce guy. Been doing it a couple days, and one day I hope to make my first sale. So that's my intro. Norm, let me kick it over to you.
Thank you, Steve. What's your profit margin?
I think revenue is all we care about, right? So I'm just looking for those top line dollars.
Cool.
Well, happy birthday.
Norm, when are we going on your course soon?
What's that?
Are we going on your course soon? You got a course, didn't you? You started a new course for entrepreneurs.
The new course for entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
Sure, if I can do it.
I'm pretty sure Danny's been drinking for a while.
No. Honestly, this is the first one. This is the first one, but by the end of the show, I'm sure I'll be pissed. Yeah.
This is my 12th.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
So, anyways, happy 60th.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. So, how is the course, Norm?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I'm just winding you up. Tim, over to you. Stand up. Do you have any trousers on today?
I'm just going to leave it a mystery.
There is no chance.
Because the truth is, if I am wearing trousers, the people that want me to not be are going to be disappointed. And if I'm not, the rest of you are all going to be massively, horribly disappointed. So let's just leave it a guess.
Is that the same room with the shelves on the piss that you built a couple of weeks ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you tilt the camera and show everyone the shelf?
I can't. I actually can't show you right now.
Okay.
All right. That's where trousers are hanging.
So no, something is going on back here that I can't release yet, but you'll know it next week.
Well, that sounds a bit rude. And the haircut.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. It's just
tell us about the haircut again.
Well,
have you had it done? Well, because it doesn't look. It looks like you've had it done again. If I'm honest with you.
No, it's starting to turn like chia pet again. It's starting to stick out on the sides. Okay. I'm about ready for another trim.
No. Okay. $100 trim.
$100. Here we go.
Here we go again.
Here we go. Cool. Liran.
Well, I want to say, kind of like Steve said, it's pretty amazing. You've gone 60 days straight. I don't think there's anything I've done for 60 days straight. So pretty amazing. The consistency is really, really good. Happy to be here, and let's add some value to the people watching, because it's 4 minutes of nonsense so far.
Yeah, it's been 4 minutes of nonsense. Right, okay. What would you guys like to talk about? Basically, we've done 60 shows. It's been the highs and lows of the last 60 days through COVID, etc. What would you like to? Do you want to take a little look back on some of the things that have happened over the last 60 days? We've seen a lot of changes, haven't we, within the industry? Liran, starting with you. Name some of the changes we've seen.
Well, I mean, I think what we're going to have out of this is a new normal for a new normal and a change in consumer behavior that's going to stick. So I'm sure that I'm sure as a consumer yourself, you have done some things differently over the last 60 days that you're going to keep. I have been ordering from Costco delivery of my groceries. I am going to stay with that behavior because it's a lot more convenient than having to go out and wait on lines at Costco, right? And that's going to change. People on Amazon who have never been Prime customers, maybe they even hated Amazon, right? They say, I don't want to buy on Amazon. I'm going to Whole Foods, or I'm going to brick and mortar stores. Suddenly kind of needed Amazon, right? So Amazon's Prime customer base is growing. I think people buying products in categories they never bought before, right? Like yeast is the number one product in grocery. Okay, people never bought yeast before on Amazon are buying yeast on Amazon. So I think what's happening is there's a acceleration of e-commerce that is accelerating it and accelerating Amazon 5-10 years out. Who knows, right? There's a massive change, and obviously COVID is bad, but what it's doing to an e-commerce, we've seen J. Crew go out of business. We've seen Neiman Marcus closing stores, right? What it's doing is it's accelerating the shift to e-commerce, which presents opportunity for all of us. The pie is going to grow, right? I mean, new sellers can come in, and that may not make an impact on the side of the actual demand that's going to happen on online. So that is all super exciting. Obviously, not great times for a lot of people. Obviously, we've seen a change in the economy. You could say recession, depression, what's going to change, a lot of unemployment. But I think for e-commerce, you could be very thankful that you're in this space if you have the skill set. And there's a variety of opportunities. Just to end quickly, you can do private label. You can reach out to brands who have never sold online before and try to help them sell online. You can buy wholesale, tremendous amount of opportunities for you to capitalize on your knowledge in this space.
Makes sense. Tim, same question to you, mate.
One thing that I've noticed over the past 60 days from a seller perspective is things seem to have settled down substantially. I mean, 60 days ago, there was some bad stuff going on, and I feel like maybe there was a little bit of overreaction at some, in some sections, and based on just fear and the unknown. And I feel like even sellers have settled in. Some things have gotten better, like Amazon is now, allowing, for the most part, unrestricted shipments to come in. Things are being delivered faster. It's not 100% the way it was, but I am less stressed out now than I was 60 days and 50 days and 40 days ago, I'll tell you that. It seems like people are adjusting to, of course, the new norm, like Liran said, and the sky is not as cloudy and dreary and depressing as it used to be. Now, that may also be because I've quit watching the news completely, but from an Amazon seller perspective or an e-commerce seller, things are settling down a little bit and continuing to grow, which is really encouraging.
Makes sense. And the same to you, Steve.
Yeah, I think the guys have covered some of the broad strokes pretty well. That we are living in a time of change, right? And by the way, most of us don't like change. That's just, it's a human condition, right? We're kind of pre-built to not like change. So I'm just telling you, we don't have a choice. So get on board is fundamentally my message to you and everybody out there listening. So Liran brought up some interesting points. Behaviors are changing. So you go overstock.com, their sales are exploding. The home furnishings category are expanding in an already strong base. So this is all online. It's all in a particular categories that are lighting up. And so you're seeing these changes, not just on Amazon, but across the board. And that goes to Liran's broader point about, this is an e-commerce shift. And so change can be, in fact, good, right? We resist change on some level because the COVID news that Tim was talking about is scary and uncertainty and chaos. And by the way, nobody knows anything. Let me just be clear. This is my own opinion, but every one of those experts, I could play you back a cut up clip of them saying, I don't know. I have no idea. The models are different. Yeah, right. Nobody knows anything. So if you can just embrace that you don't know anything and they don't know anything and we're all in this together, we just kind of go with the flow. And so, we're going to be okay. Things will be normal's maybe the wrong word. Things will get to a point where we'll feel like this is fine. I'm coping. Everything's good. And there's a lot of opportunity. That's the point I would leave people with.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, we look over the last 60 days and I think you get the initial news, how it's breaking down, how you're going to react to things, how you're going to deal with those within your businesses. And then you start to plan forward. And I said to Liran about 6 or 7 days in, once the shit hit the fan, I had a lot of stuff we'll deal with it. And then I just turned around and said to him, look, I'm on offense. This isn't time to go on defense now. This is time to put a stamp down and go forward. And that's what the message I've been trying to get through on the show. And that's what we've all been trying to do as well, is say to people, don't be afraid, see what's out there. Don't let this kind of the news and stuff cloud your judgment. At the end of the day, we're here where we are. We have to deal with where we are. So you might as well make the most of the situation. And the clearer that you think, the more creative you had the opportunity to be. So I know that there's people in our industry have been very much affected because they're not selling the conditioned products for these times. But hopefully through these shows, a lot of these people have been adapting and realizing, okay, I might not sell the right products at the moment, but that time will pass. And then I'll be inventive and be able to do other things and try new things. And so this is some of the content that we've been doing on here isn't strictly, this is why like Mindset Sunday and stuff plays the important role. So it sets people up for the week and start to think about everything else. But I think what happens is we all kind of take on board what's going on and it's how you react to it, which is really important. So that's my take on it. Again, going forward, we don't have answers. Our PM has said another 3 weeks or so on lockdown. I think the most important thing is always be planning and doing day by day until we know what is really happening. Like what Steve has said is that even the experts don't know. But all we can do is keep pushing that ball forward on a daily basis. And I think that's what makes true entrepreneurs. Liran, what are you doing in your business at the moment to push the ball forward?
I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward with importing products. I'm moving forward with launching, and moving forward in helping sellers. I've seen some amazing results in sellers from our Amazon ads agency. On a lot of people are saying things are bad, but I mean, there's a ton of explosion happening on Amazon on a lot of products. Like launch a new product, page 1 in 3 days, no reviews, $4,000 in sales. Just there's so much demand for so many products right now. You would think the sky is falling, but people are buying stuff, people are home. And there's new opportunities to rank and sell because people are out of stock and Amazon has shipping issues, right? There's a shift in the search results. There's so much happening that if you can take advantage of some of that opportunity and not react, not just sit back, but be actually aggressive. And some of it is taking on some measurable risk. Does this stay for 6 months? What are the products? Are people going to be homeschooling their kids in the fall? What are some of the products I could think about now to bring? If you were smart 2-3 months ago, maybe you brought some summer products. I'm thinking right now, my daughter probably, even if her camp is on, I may not send her. I'm in New York. It's bad here. I may not send her. What is she going to do with it? I'm going to buy a backyard pool. What are the products that I'm going to buy that I'm thinking about that maybe I'm going to take a little bit of risk and bring those in for the fall right now to change this behavior, for this behavior shift. That's the kind of stuff I'm doing in my business, thinking about and talking to other sellers about. It's certainly not time to sit back and do nothing. It's never a time to sit back and do nothing. But certainly now, we understand this new normal. The country will eventually open back up. Maybe there's a second wave. Maybe there isn't. Who knows, right? Like Steve said, nobody knows anything. But I think the only things you could do are plan and take action. Plan and take action. Control
what you can control. That's it. And then the world will take care of itself, like it always has done and always will. Tim, bring it over to you. I think you've probably had a few changes, didn't you, in the beginning? And like you said, it was
stop wearing pants.
He stopped wearing pants. Yeah, $100 haircuts. What's happened for you? The biggest changes you've seen over the last 60 days of what you're implementing into what you're doing.
I actually had to kind of go back on the advice I was giving at first, because when all this happened, I started telling people, "Hey, let's slow down. Let's take a breather. We can't necessarily what's the word? Translate search term results, and I'm getting an echo. And we can't track this data very well because everything's so crazy. So I was kind of telling people to pump the brakes, let's slow down. And then after a couple weeks, I quickly realized, holy crap, it's not time to slow down. It's time to roll. Yeah. So personally, I'm launching 3 new products right now. Some of them are even pretty complicated. And I'm even working on a case study that I'm launching something on Indiegogo, crowdfunding, and doing free content on that right now. And what we're seeing is, as I'm working on this project for Indiegogo, I'm stepping off of Amazon and looking more into just digital marketing space and the Shopify space. And what I've noticed, the Shopify space is actually growing faster than the Amazon space for sellers right now. And now my suspicion is that might not be permanent. I think it's because Amazon is slow to ship a lot of products. I think there's a delay there. But I think people are just spending more times in digital formats, right? So they're scrolling Facebook more. They're going through blogs and they're going on Reddit. People are spending more time in front of a screen, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it's good for us, as e-commerce sellers. So the industry is blowing up all over the place.
Do you think also because of the Amazon obviously restricting goods, people had to go elsewhere, so the shop patterns change, and people thought, right, there is a world outside of Amazon. Let's do a Google search.
I think that's part of it, but I also think that it's not necessarily the intent to buy. It's not someone saying, I want to buy this. It's too slow on Amazon. Let's look elsewhere. But I think that digital marketing has become more effective as far as just impromptu purchases, compulsory purchases, because they're spending more time in front of a screen, so we can put our ads out there and have them seen more frequently. So I guess the short answer is I was a little bit timid at first, and it took me a couple weeks to come to the realization that, holy crap, this is the time to put the foot on the gas, and it's not going to slow down anytime. Let's get while the getting's good.
And I think it's also a time. I mean, I bought a couple of courses during this time. I think more people are buying actually courses if you're selling information and digital marketing, and I think it's another great opportunity. And an opportunity to build an audience, right? People are sitting in front of their screen right now all day. Nobody's traveling. Nobody's going anywhere. You have I'm sure your Facebook Lives, I think I've mentioned this before, are getting more views today than they did 3 months ago. Yeah. Because everybody's home. Nobody's going anywhere. There's nothing else to do but be home in front of your computer for a lot of us, or your phone. And so there's a lot of opportunity in marketing in general right now with captive audiences. And you would think people are not spending money, but I know some guys that have had some very successful course sales, better than they've ever had before in the last couple of months. Yeah. Like Norm, for example.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Mills here says, "What's up, guys? I'm halfway through Norm's beard through this pandemic."
That's the new measure of time. It's a Norm beard. This is a quarter Norm beard until I see you guys again.
I think Jerry and I have a call with Amazon today. Speaking of which, hey, Jerry.
Just want to say a few hellos again to Jerry. Megla's here, Steve's here, Linda is on the call, Jordan's here, Nikki, Steve, Robbie, Messi, Sahal, welcome back, Garrison, Tiff's back, always here, Eric Payne, how you doing, brother? I think most people on the call know Eric. Cindy Norton's here, Jason's here, Quasim is here, Lisa, Troy, Louise, Peter, Vincenzo is also here, Michael, Andy, Isabella, hope you're well. Sharon Evan is here also. Lee Chapman, Chris Parr, hope you're well, brother. Johan's here. Pat Taylor. Yao is here. Daniel and Nicola. In the chat here, we've got Nabil. Hi, guys. Vincenzo saying hi. Herb says GM, which I'm sure means good morning. Nelia is saying hi, guys. Jerry says, my Amazon sales are at this time high thanks to your PPC team. Liran Hirschkorn. He's a plant. You planted him.
I would say shill. Yeah, it's Jerry Shills, not Mills. Come on, Jerry.
hold while I take a screenshot, Jerry.
Yeah, let's do a screenshot. Elchin says, hi, gurus. Happy 60th. Thanks for sharing valuable content. Side B says, 60 day in a row. Danny and crew, you're a badass. Fuckers, I won't swear because Steve's here. Bring the next.
You did say it anyway, by the way.
He's not going to say. I'm not going to say X by saying X.
And then I sneaked it in. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that was a sneak. That was kind of out there.
I was hoping you weren't going to notice, so just is an optical illusion. Andrew, many congratulations. I learned loads from these sessions. Really grateful. Thank you. Jerry says, always be shilling.
Yeah, see, this is the guy I like. Yeah, that's good.
So, Steve, you run quite a sizable operation. What's been your learnings over the last 60 days and the changes that you've implemented?
Well, first, there's a ton of things. I mean, it's been a half a Norm's beard since I've had this kind of chaos in my businesses. But the reality is there are some of our businesses that are absolutely not doing great because most of our customers remain closed.
Yep.
So on the consumer side, through Amazon and so forth, it's probably 50-50, and we've actually bolted on some things that are highly additive to the value of what we're doing. We've gone to the extent of I've called some of my friends that I've known for 30 years, and we're setting up U.S. factories in Wisconsin to make certain products, and we're doing lots of things. So half of our field of opportunity is in full advance. The other half is pump the brakes and hold on until this thing passes, because we simply don't have the support of the marketplace. So we're lucky because we have those two halves, and we're not 100% in one of those that is negative. So yeah, I definitely I could say that there's a sense of foreboding. And when this all started, I started talking about this thing in January. I'm like, something's weird in China, right? And I still, like, all the biology and all the experts and lockdown policy, this or that, this is not my job to do. I can't figure that out. It's clear nobody can figure that out, by the way. What I can tell you is we as entrepreneurs need to figure out, what does this mean for our supply chain? What does this mean for buyers? What does this mean for the economics, both now and the future? These are the big picture questions we need to think about, because there is stuff that is broken all over the world when it comes to supply chain, right? There's opportunity, and I'll triple down on opportunity, but I want you guys to know it's not easy. There are some complexities out there, and I want you to really think about it and be thoughtful, and not just, oh, well, the guy said everything's good and there's opportunity, so I don't have to worry. I'm not saying worry. I'm saying be prudent with your business and put some thought into it.
Yeah, don't be cavalier over it. As we said, you want to be planning and executing, but effectively, there's no point in executing unless you've got a solid plan in place. So just make sure that you're mindful of what you're doing next. Norm, what about you?
I've been listening, and for me, I always talk about resilience. You gotta you get kicked between the legs, and you gotta get up. And as we've been on this podcast, I've just noticed that PayPal has suspended my account for fraudulent activity.
Finally, I've been reporting it for months, Norm. I'm not going to lie to you. Finally.
Well, thank you, Steve.
It's all those course sales,
That's right. Just plowing in. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. So, anyways, some of the things that I took a look at when all this was happening was, the first thought was, okay, we will panic. But then you have to take a look. Like if you just take a look at history with the Great Depression, more millionaires came out of the Great Depression than any other time. Maybe now will be different. Then you take a look at housing sales in 2008 with subprime, everything crashed. Well, people could take an opportunity and buy 10 houses for $100,000. It was crazy times. And I think this is the same thing. Panic sets in, dust settles in, and now you can take opportunity. Where is the opportunity? That's the thing. Where can you find it? So is it putting out a course on entrepreneurs? Possibly. It could be setting up, diversifying your Amazon brands. So, hey, I sell travel pillows. I might have to diversify. It might be finding other suppliers. Like in China, when all this was happening, you had to turn on the dime. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You can turn on a dime. We're not those big whales that are very slow turners. We have to take it, and if there is change, we have to jump on it. So one of the things that we looked at, inventory management. And we talked about this a little earlier on, but the way that we're working with our suppliers now, because this happened, it's our normal lot. I'm just going to, give a very quick example. If I'm buying 1,000 units, I bring it over, I've always put some into FB, or not FBM, but into our 3PL, and then some over to Amazon. Well, luckily now I could switch it over to FBM very quickly.
Yeah.
Which helped out. So we could show that we had faster turnaround time. But now what we've been able to do is we've been able to go back to our supplier. We've been able to negotiate better terms. So that was a bonus. We were able to double up. And what we said was, okay, look, those 1,000 units, we want you to put another 1,000 units in stock for us. Just keep them at your warehouse. We'll try for free, but sometimes that doesn't work. And most of the times it doesn't. But here's 30% down. Hold on to them for me. And then as they start to move, then you put the new production into place and you'll never run out of inventory. So this has solved the problem for most people for fourth quarter. That whole thing about trying to keep the inventory moving. Well, you can easily do that now. So this is just something new that's come out that we're using, and we're talking to our like a lot of our clients about, and we're talking to them about negotiating. I mean, it's a good time to do it. Don't take advantage, negotiate.
Another common theme that with us guys as well, we've spent a lot of time going to events, and this whole lockdown has changed a lot of things. Starting with you, Steve, how has it impacted on you and your business by not being able to attend networking events like you have? Because like you'd fly over to even to seller sessions, you'll come, you fly over on your expensive what's it called, your upgrade and stuff, and that's a nice picture of it. And then Liran will get on the plane in the cockpit as well.
Laurent's flying it, yeah.
Liran's flying it. Steve's in first class. But no, seriously, how much has this impacted you in terms of not being able to get out, see entrepreneurs and network with people?
Well, for sure, somebody was asking me the other day, they're like, how has this impacted you? I'm like, I landed from Dubai on March 8th, and I haven't been on an airplane since then, which, by the way, was right near the kind of the cutoff, unbeknownst to me at the time. So it is very, very surprising to me that I haven't been at places, and I had many places scheduled, just to be clear, including coming to seller sessions and going to Germany, and there's India, and there's a whole series of things, China. But honestly, I'm using all that time. No matter how aggressive we are, no matter how much we're trying to grind it away, travel takes time, and there's just no getting around that. So we have been completely all hands on deck. I've found the time at home to be quite useful, and although I miss seeing you guys, I miss seeing the entrepreneurs, I don't even know when that's going to return, because conferences and these types of things are going to change for a long, long time at hotels and things like that. So I don't even know when it's going to return. So I miss my people. I do actually get energy from seeing you guys and hanging out with all the great entrepreneurs. That part I miss, but the time has been essential. This very morning, we'll talk maybe later about the fact that the China supply chain is going to face further pressure, but I'm talking to Poland sourcing some stuff, Israel sourcing some stuff, India tying off some loose ends, both on the tech and sourcing side. And then, of course, I still have a bunch of stuff in China, Vietnam, and Southeast Asia. But the point is the world is changing dramatically, and I really needed to be here during that time so I could be 18 hours behind a screen talking to whoever I need to. So it's been helpful, but I miss the people.
Yeah. Same question to you, Norm, as well.
Well, I just want to let you know I got my
account unsuspended.
Back unsuspended.
Nice. That was quick.
Well, that was real fast.
Did you use a prevention company? You pay $4,000 to get it reinstated, or you done it yourself?
Some of Tim's enforcers. Yeah.
Okay.
I went in and approved it.
Yeah. Thanks, Leon. So, the networking is definitely affected, what we're doing. However, podcasts like this, we get opportunities to meet new people even on podcasts. The last podcast we had, Sharon and Chris were on, and we've been talking back and forth. So we've been able to get in touch and talk to each other. And even after this, we kind of reach out and, talk to people. People see us on the podcast and reach out, and it's great. That's the only form of networking there is right now. It's getting out there and talking to everybody. Like it's great to be able to go out and it's not so much going to the event, it's breaking the bread with people and sitting down and having a few laughs, you know.
Yeah.
But in this circumstance, I mean, all we can do is have some fun, talk, and you know, if people do reach out, you try to reach out and talk to them. But yeah, it has affected, but there has been a few positives too, because there's been a lot more people looking at my LinkedIn profile, or you know, and then reaching out and saying, "Hey, what can you? I didn't know you could do this," and so that helps out with business as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic. What about you, Tim, as well? Because you're quite active going to conferences and stuff. I think before it all shut down, you had 2 or 3 lined up in Vegas, and so did you, Liran, didn't you? You were booked, you know, I think you had a stand and everything. So.
I canceled, I'll let Tim go, but I canceled 3 flights in March.
Yeah. Tim,
yeah,
you got...
I'm the same way. I went back and looked at my American Airlines stuff, and they have refunded me for like 7 digital tickets. Because between March and April and May, I was supposed to be in Australia, India, China, Hong Kong, like all over the States. The last trip that I was on was actually with you, Danny, in London. So I got back from London with you at, you know, right at the beginning of February. I may have made 1 trip to San Fran. But
that was a messy evening, but that's for another day.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But it was, for me, it was a little bit depressing because I hate, like Steve said, you hate having plans change. Right? And like I had all this stuff lined up, and it was like, it didn't all happen at once. Like, boom, it's over, you're done. It's like, wait and see. Okay, we'll cut this. Wait and see. Cut, you know. Like, I was doing a workshop at ASD in Vegas, and like, I had Airbnbs rented for masterminds. I had workshop space rented. I had all these flights, and I had all these people that bought tickets for it, and I had sponsors. And like, when everything shuts down, like even getting refunds back, like Airbnb owes me like $6,000, and I may never get it back because they're going under. So like, every little small thing was stacking up, and it was depressing. But then after a few weeks, I realized, okay, I'm just gonna scrap it. Like, everything's a loss. Who cares? Like, let's move on. But like what Steve was saying, it's put me in front of the computer and given me more time to focus on other things that I wouldn't have been focusing on. So to be honest, like this whole Indiegogo thing probably wouldn't be going as fast as it is now. I've taken time, and I'm actually researching and launching more products for myself on Amazon that I wouldn't be going this fast because I was busy doing other stuff. So it was a shock. It was kind of depressing. It was a big change. I'm depressed because I haven't got to see all those new newsfeed pictures of Liran sitting in cockpits.
Yeah,
I mean that was part of my everyday life, and now it's gone.
now it becomes an everyday struggle. Yeah,
but I think it's like one of those you make lemon out of lemonade things. I will say that
that's not actually how it works. Just to be clear.
Yeah,
you want some of this Jack Daniels, Tim? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I meant. One thing that I've noticed though is there's been a lot more people doing these webinars. Have you guys noticed the webinar fatigue?
Yeah.
There's like a few webinars that people are still
I've got
with,
60
like
of them and counting.
This. Like this is conversational, but the smooth, polished, like super corporate commercial, people are sick of it because everybody tried to transition to that too fast. So I have noticed that. That's been interesting and trying to adapt like how I put out content because people are sick of seeing a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah. Liran?
Yeah, kind of what Steve said resonated with me very much because I'm definitely an extrovert. Although I think I only learned that in the last couple of years. But I definitely get energy being around people. I definitely have less energy sitting myself in, my office here, staring at the computer. And so I miss that energy. I miss the conferences. I miss the camaraderie, the conversations, learning, getting together, like having fun, like with people who are, there's like Steve calls them like the normies and the awesomers, right? It's like 2 different types of people, like the 9 to 5 people and the people that are, entrepreneurial, really changing the world, I think, in a lot of good ways. So I miss a lot of that. It makes me appreciate these kind of things because it kind of it's a level of that camaraderie that we can have online. At the same time, I feel like it's also allowed me to really focus. And it's brought like a new level of focus for me on like, okay, like you have nothing else to do. You're not going to any conferences. You're not going to this. Like just like work on your business, sit and work on your business. And, and the thing with the webinars is like, yeah, I'm getting offers every day to learn this and learn that and learn that. It's like, I want to learn everything and I want to consume it all at once. But like, the reality is you can't do that. Just like focus, spend half an hour a day watching a video or reading or like, spend a little bit of time. But like, you also don't want to get overwhelmed during this time, because like things are coming at you from a lot of direction right now, because people realize there's this captive audience, right? I think it's a great time to really focus. And yeah, I do miss the, like my best friends are all in this space. Like that's the people I talk to every day. That's the people, I don't really have friends outside of like, for the most part, people I'm really close with. The closest people I'm with are my family and people in this space.
Yeah, because they understand what you do.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. We like to talk about the same stuff. They understand me. Like my friends from high school that went out to be a lawyer, like it's just like it's not that much.
They're friends, but there's a disconnect, isn't there?
Yeah,
you can't have the same conversation.
I can get on with you and we can talk for an hour about bullshit and Amazon and whatever, like it's a camaraderie. So I miss that part, but I'm also trying to make sure that actually during this time that I reach out to people and that I check in on people, right? Yeah. Especially at the beginning of this, more than now. But like send a text message to a friend that's living in New York City in an apartment by herself. Hey, how are you doing? How are things going for you? How are you really doing? Because some people are having challenging times, and reaching out to people and showing that you're there. And like I keep kind of like a tracking sheet of the things that I want to do every day. There's like 7 things I want to do every day, and if I do 3 of them, I feel like it's a win. And one of them is like reach out to one person, right? Whether it's networking or a friend or whatever, like reach out to one person today, send an email. And actually you can leverage those relationships, can be very meaningful and can translate into business, but also like, it's a good time to do that because people are, isolated. So I think the message for me is like, yeah, it sucks not being able to go to events. I'm glad to have this. I appreciate that. And I've kind of flipped the script to say, okay, well now I get to focus and turning lemonade into a lemon, as Tim says.
Oh, brilliant. So what do you think is the way forward now if we're operating in kind of a new world, right? So we know that going to the events and doing them online, that you can't replace the dynamics of being with someone or a few people 10, 11 o'clock at night, wherever it may be, and making meaningful relationships. Is very difficult to do that with like online events and stuff. But is there a hybrid in place, do you think? Is there going to be technology where you can go to these virtual events and you can network? Can you see that working? Is there a way forward? Starting with Steve, you're nodding your head, so I imagine you got a point on this.
I was just trying to pretend like I was paying attention. The reality is there are these types of platforms coming. In fact, I know that Melissa's working on one that is kind of more event driven. So it's kind of like a trade show event. You can do breakout meetings. You can do kind of one-on-one speed dating kind of ideas. So this will evolve. I thought, with the gang here, I don't think you joined us, Danny, but the rest of the guys here were on with a game night, and we had a fun, really fun game night where there's a lot of laughs. It was, we saw true personalities come out. Tim,
you mean the personality of I whipped everybody's tail? So like,
the one who was the most apt to trick us. Yeah, so well done. So anyway,
you can word it how you want to, winner, liar, whatever.
Tim had the most black hat tactics.
Anyway, the point is there are things that will change and evolve, and also there will be a time, I can imagine there's going to be a lot of things happening that are outside, right? And although this may be hard to imagine right at this moment, but there is going to be events that they just put up big tents kind of outside, and they let us go, do stuff again. It's going to have to change, but it doesn't mean it's for the worse. It just means it's different. And both things can be true at once. It can be fine and it can be different without it being bad.
Sorry, go on, you go.
I'm just saying, when you think about the greater picture, right? Like we're all in this here, but let's zoom out of your life and you look at the line of your life, right? Wherever you are in that line, this is a small blip. Like in a year, there's going to be a vaccine, right? There'll be a solution. Like, maybe there'll be another pandemic in the future. Hopefully this makes us actually a lot more prepared to deal with that. I think the government has done a poor job kind of preparing for this. But in the scheme of the long line of picture, and if you zoom out, this will be a small blip. You'll absolutely remember it. But 18 months from now, or at a certain point, things will get back to normal. It's a matter of time. And I think having that perspective and knowing like short-term shift, got to do things differently for a little bit of time. And there's a new normal, but there's going to be a back to normal. People are already getting like fed up with this, like being at home and all this stuff, right? They're already going to the beaches and like doing the stuff they want to do. You want to get a sense of normalcy back to going to restaurants and seeing people. So I think it'll return. I think it's just the perspective is short-term shift in the scheme of your life. Things will get back to normal.
Yeah, going back to Steve's point about the behaviour changes from outside and what you're talking about, Melissa, as well. I spoke to our PR company today. They do lots what are called activations and installations. They do a lot of festival stuff as well. And some of the things they're working on at the moment for the future is having, and you probably got this in the US as well, the drive-in movie screens. So you go in, but they were doing them to have parties. So someone would be driving, but you party with inside of your car. So the music's playing, and they've got it all set up like that so that you can go into a space, but in a controlled environment, i.e. your car and stuff. So they're setting up safety for that, preparing for the road back to be able to put on these larger scale events. So it's going to be quite interesting. Imagine you're going to see this on Amazon, that these people got like these clear plastic, like Wendy houses that you put over you. And we're all walking around these conferences with inside of these bags. But yeah, it's going to be.
He's going to source that right now.
What's that?
Yeah, I already have those sourced. Believe me, we've got every kind of ridiculous barrier between people. That part I do not look forward to. This, like, I'm not going to get into a whole rant here, maybe a half a rant, but the idea, like, I do not like wearing masks.
Yeah.
Turns out I didn't expect to be in the mask business, but I bought a dental supply company, and now I buy $1 million worth of PPE a week. It's turned into a thing.
Wow.
So even as I sell this stuff, I hate wearing masks. The idea that Delta says I have to wear a mask is like, guess what? I'm not flying. All right, I have no interest.
I mean, how are we going to eat our peanuts wearing masks?
I've got a whole thing worked out. Don't worry.
Don't worry. He's got peanuts as well. Yeah, go on.
It's a conveyor belt. Don't worry. It's a known problem. But
uses positive pressure ventilation.
I just don't want to be like, I don't like that feeling. I don't. Yeah. Right now, I have to wire money constantly to China before they ship stuff. By the way, so normally I talk about getting terms. Well, there's no terms on PPE for the best of us. And so I have to go in the bank. I got to put on the mask, and I just don't like that. So I look forward to a day where we don't see all of each other as kind of biological weapons, But I definitely know that it's reasonable to have a period of, let's hunker down and let's be careful of each other too. So I'm okay with it. I just hope it doesn't last forever.
Yeah, I mean, when do you think the first run of events will start to show up and people will have... Because obviously there's no insurance against COVID-19. You can't get covered for it. So that's going to be interesting when this is going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen differently in each territory. But are you seeing the way back that there'll be smaller groups, then they'll expand them out? I mean, Norm, what's your opinion on this?
I think it's going to take some time. We're going to have to adapt. Look what we're doing with travel, since 2001, right? We've had to adapt. It's got loose. It's looser and looser and looser, and probably still get a little bit more loose. But I think they're going to come out. They're going to be smaller events. Then it might grow. I have heard of events that have not been canceled, that they still plan on going full steam ahead. I don't know how that's going to look, and that's July, August, September. Yeah. I'm sure they're going to be canceled, but who knows?
Well, I don't know if Celicon's made an announcement either way yet. Have they?
I haven't heard. I thought early on I heard that I thought they were going to cancel it, but no, I don't have any confirmation on that.
I don't know about the official, if it's official in terms of being cancelled, but I was speaking at Affiliate World in Barcelona. That's in July, a week after Celicon, but from my understanding, that has been postponed for now. But because obviously there's big issues in Spain that we've had. But it'd be interesting to see how this kind of unfolds. We've got seller sessions booked for the 25th of July. Now our MP will have conversations the beginning of June, and then we're going to have to address it from there of where we go. But for me, it's safety first.
Right.
But for me personally, I loathed to turn that onto an online event, because I think for me it's about the experience. It's not just about the content, it's about the people, it's about the after parties, it's about having fun and everything.
There's never going to be the same, like you can't, there's nothing you can trade for a face-to-face trust, relationship, having a beer and sitting down and talking to somebody, right? Like you can meet, Amazon sellers as an example, right? They're very protective over their private label product and what they sell, and they won't tell anyone. But you can meet someone in an event, and 5 minutes later, you're going to tell them everything about your business because, like, you just formed a relationship, and there's a sense of trust, and it's just different. There's to me, like, Zoom can help a lot, and probably in this time, people realize they've done a lot of unnecessary travel. They could have just done Zoom and probably gotten a lot of stuff done. And I think that will be a new normal in some sense. Like corporations, people who spent money on travel and time and effort will just say, hey, like Zoom, and companies that, maybe are going to start operating more people working from home going forward than coming back to the office and all this stuff. And there's going to be changes. But there's also a certain level of collaboration and trust and relationship that cannot be traded for other than for face-to-face relationship building. And I think that's what you kind of mean, right? Like, it's not just the presentation at seller sessions. It's what happens at 6 o'clock when people go out to dinner and have a drink together.
Oh, and 6 o'clock in the morning where we're sitting there watching the boxing tethered on a laptop in a restaurant. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
For me, it's about experiences. It's memories. Do you know what I mean? As we get older, it's not just about money and everything else. It is about setting up for memories. We're here for a good time as well, hopefully for a long time.
I mean, Norm's beard, in person and on Zoom. Totally different.
I've been done here. Look, happy 60th birthday in the background. Thank you.
I just want to remind everybody that that our dear leader's 60th birthday is happening today. And again, I want to reiterate, you don't look a day over 55 to me, buddy.
Thank you, mate. I'll probably, when I wake up with this hangover tomorrow, but yeah, I'll probably feel 60 in the morning. Right, where are we going to go next? We've got about 15 minutes left. I would like to ask you.
I do have a comment, Danny. One of the things I just thought of is that there's a bigger job pool out there. So the ability to go out and find a really great person, copywriter, somebody, it could be that person that's lost their job. They're sitting at home. They're looking for extra income. And we've been able to, like on the content writing side, we've been able to find some really great writers that, we would never have had a chance to go out and talk to before. So that's a real positive that there's so many people there willing to work. And for us, like in the US or in Canada, take from this pool rather than having to go overseas and work in your own time zone.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. Has anyone employed anyone recently into their teams? I imagine you have, Steve, but have you, Tim, and what about you, Liran, on the agency side?
What's the question?
So have you employed any new staff over the last few weeks? Whereas most people are furloughing and letting their staff go, have you actually grown?
I've increased some hours, yes, on our existing team.
Yeah.
I expect I'm actually going to be putting in the next couple of months a lot more focus on it and growing. I think there's a good opportunity there. So, so the answer is I think there will be, but I have increased sort of freelance hours, so to speak, in the business.
Makes sense. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I've hired 2 employees in the past 2 months and interviewed another full-time one yesterday.
Excellent. And localized or overseas?
2 overseas and 1 localized.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's good. The idea. I know you guys know Michelle Venton, right? Very successful entrepreneur. One of the things that she done from the very beginning, she always tends to do things her own way. It wasn't about, her business is about the branding, growing the brand, not about hacks or anything else. And one of the key things she's always done is when she employs staff, she doesn't go overseas. She looks for mothers that have worked in corporate jobs, very smart, wants to earn some money, wants to be able to stay at home as well and raise their children, but get really good expertise, but at a good, fair rate that she can afford without having to go overseas. So I thought that was quite interesting as well in terms of that. And I agree. I think over a period of time, we're going to see more and more of that as more talent becomes available and they can work from home and they don't have the travel costs and etc. They may be able to adjust their wages, which is more affordable to work on one of our teams. So,
all true.
Okay, so going forward, Steve, what are your predictions now for the remainder of 2020? What would you like to see, and what do you think will happen?
Well, as I started, since we're not in control, what I want to see or what I'd like to see, probably not so relevant. What I expect to see includes things from, I think the supply chain is broken. The air shipments are broken. There are food issues, in the United States where farmers don't have enough business, so they're plowing their crops right back into the field. There's dairy guys dumping milk out. There are some unintended consequences of all these lockdowns that are going to be problematic. So my advice, we're preparing for, unemployment, uncertainty, economic upheaval. And I do think that that's going to be generally mild in Western countries that are more, kind of developed. It's the third world countries that are going to suffer the brunt of these types of things. That trickle down effect will not be pretty. So I also think there's going to be extraordinary China breaking the chain pressure. I think, the version 1 or phase 1 of this trade war is only a precursor to what's coming. So I would recommend that people really focus. It doesn't mean you have to leave China, or it just means you should know your options, and you should make sure that you understand the market price of your product. And my general advice on that is stop thinking that you're best friends with your factory and that you have some unique relationship that nobody in the world's ever had before. It's all a ruse.
Steve, I have a question for you. I heard I did a presentation maybe a month or so ago, and there was another speaker, and he had a sourcing company, and he was from Israel, and he had people on the ground in China, and he had like a warning call for sellers, and the warning call was, the economy is not doing great in China, and even he said even Yo-Yo, your friend, might be suffering, and you got to be careful on your payments to suppliers, even ones where you have a good relationship with. If they're a small factory, they could be going out of business and maybe taking that deposit and running or whatever. Like, do you find that to be like the case? How should you handle things differently? Is it reality? Should you be concerned about your supply relationships or sending money over now differently than you were 3 months ago? I know there's mechanisms like Alibaba Trade Assurance, but not every seller works through that. They generally wire the deposit. And should sellers be concerned? What are the things you could do to protect yourself? I would think you would be the expert on that answer.
So unfortunately, that's a whole topic on its own. We have talked about it. I'm not sure if it was on one of our dual casts here or not, but yes, on standard kind of supply chain stuff, you should mitigate your risk, reduce that risk, figure out pre-inspections or other types of inspections for raw materials, etc., that will rationalize payments, right? If you send money and you can't verify raw materials, maybe that's a risk that is not worth taking. And it depends on the scale of the order. But the quick answer is regular supply chain stuff, be extra careful. PPE, as I said, everybody just going to have to roll the dice and do your best. We're lucky because we have people on the ground. But you can actually get better terms from regular supply chain, as Norm talked about earlier today. So ask and be thoughtful about it. And there's lots of content that we put out there and others as well.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim, I've muted your mic. Sorry. Let's get you back in. Apologies. Here we go.
That's why it's so peaceful.
You muted me because you thought that was me dinging, and now you figured out it wasn't even me.
No. It's just. Can you hear that? Listen to it. Can you hear that noise? And now it stops. All that background noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, being a former audio engineer, that was driving me absolutely bonkers.
I don't hear anything. It may be that AC unit.
Yeah, it probably is. And you're not wearing cans, are you? So your predictions for? Oh, you are. Okay. So
he's not wearing pants. Not have
pants. Yeah,
I've got the cans, not the pants.
What is your predictions for the remainder of the year? Like, what do you think will happen, and what would you like to see?
I would like to see everything get back to normal. I'd like to see supply chains get back to normal. I'd like to see kids go back to school. But what I want probably isn't going to happen. We talk a lot about Amazon selling, or we talk a lot about e-commerce, and sometimes we don't talk a lot about life, and right now life for me is changing pretty significantly. I've got 3 little kids, and we're trying to cope with the what has been a short term, like what do we do with our kids? There's no school. Like we don't want to send them to daycare because daycares are closed. But my wife is a nurse, and I'm working. I can't work from home because I'm have 3 little kids. So like we've got a nanny, but now they're even talking about not letting the kids go back to school in the fall. And like I'll be honest, I'm in panic mode. I'm like, not only like how are we going to take care of our kids, but we're going to drive ourselves crazy. Like someone's going to get hurt because we're all like got cabin fever, and like the kids aren't getting educated. So does my wife stop working to start homeschooling, and then she'll kill me because she'll be so annoyed every day when I come home. So I know we're trying to figure that out. I know so many businesses that have had a short-term hurdle that they can probably get over. Like one of them is Emerald Expo. Emerald Expo owns ASD, they own Prosper, and they run like 250 trade shows in the U.S. every year. Like I've been messaging like one of my friends that works for them, and she's like, Tim, I don't know if we're going to survive this. Like, so every week that I see that these things are stretched out, I get a little bit more and more anxious for what's going to happen. I'm seeing restaurants opening in Alabama at least, and nobody's going to them. Like nobody's going. So because
they're still scared, probably. Yeah,
it's still scared. They live in Alabama.
Thank you. And people are confused about like, well, what are the social distancing regulations, or do I have to wear a mask, or is it just the staff that wears a mask? Like, I don't know. E-commerce is looking up for me, and I'm extremely excited. Q4 is going to be the most freaking ridiculous thing anybody's ever seen, because everybody that was going to brick and mortar to buy gifts, they're not anymore. But I'm concerned about general life, and
Tim, especially like malls, right? As far as crowded places,
dude, they're done.
You can have a single store that like where people shop for supermarket stuff, and they can sort of measure and control. And then you have a mall, which is like totally different. So it's a great point.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. But do you also think that because you mentioned cabin fever, going back to the point about events and stuff, obviously they're going to try and put a bit of a hold on us. But I think once people says, right, you can leave your house, everyone's going to go mental and never want to be back home again. So we could have this spring back where everyone's going out and buying tickets for events and doing all these things on the flip side, right? Because they're like, I'm so tired of being at home. I put aside my concerns about a reoccurrence of this virus because I just need to get out. I need to do things. I need to see different people. I'm just wondering how that would kind of kick into play, taking that to Norm. What do you think?
Sorry, I was just looking at my son coming in, not my wife.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not sure what's going to happen, with a possible reoccurrence or crowds gathering. I know one thing: you will never ever see me foot tap. That will not happen. I don't know if you've, shaking hands. Now people are lifting their foot and tapping it. That's too stupid for me.
I can't wait to go back to stroking your beard, Norm.
Yeah.
The first time I see Steve in person, I'm kissing him. That's all there is to it.
Bring it. Yeah.
Hey,
he looks like to enjoy that.
I'll do right side.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
But like when this, I guess you'll probably see a ton of people out there. They're just cooped up. They're tired. And maybe there's a lot of people that will weigh the risk, right? They just want to get together. They want to be social again. And I don't know. I think the time, like I live, there's a park that faces me, and every weekend there's more and more people that are gathering out there and just wanting to socialize with people. So I think it'll happen.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, one thing I'm going to hope for, and it sounds really bad, I'm hoping we don't reach episode 100 because I want to see everyone out of their houses. I want people to get back to normal. I want people to embrace each other. I want businesses to grow, and I want people to be happy. So let's sign off here. Steve, best way to reach you?
Find me on the internet. I exist, but I can't make it easy for you because I get enough stuff already.
Cool. Norm, where do they find your beard?
My beard can be found at norm@amz.club or any social network, Norm Farrar.
Sounds good. Tim, where do we find your trousers or pants, as we call them in the US?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. The best way to send me messages is actually my Facebook group, Private Label Legion.
Excellent. Liran.
You can find my Facebook profile while we'll be setting up a new site for the agency, so we'll have that ready to launch soon. But message me on Facebook. I pretty much answer every single person.
Yeah, that is true.
Unlike Steve, you know.
Unlike
that's
Steve.
for sure.
So yeah, thank you guys, gents, for joining. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in every day. I'll be back here BST 4 p.m. tomorrow. Take care. See you soon.
Bye.
See you later.